Hi, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the country or even in the world. My name is Jonathan Jeffries. I apologize for getting this announcement out late this week. Normally, I like to do my video announcements on Monday, but unfortunately for you all, I had a class. Your class started Monday, and I had another class finish on Sunday. And the first week and the last week of every term are always the busiest. So I had final assignments to grade and grades to get posted and all of that fun stuff that teachers have to do at the end of every term. So I will get my next week announcement up for you on Monday. But nevertheless, I always try and post my announcement um, in announcements on your Halo course page on Sunday. I try to do it on Saturday, but usually on Sunday. So at least you have my announcements there to read. Much of what I say here is basically the same stuff, although I might sometimes throw in a few little things that come to mind as I'm going through the tasks for the week. The main thing that I wanted to help you or get you to understand this first week is that microorganisms are ubiquitous. And as I said in my printed announcement, published announcement, that's just a fancy word that means everywhere all the time. Ubiquitous. Microorganisms are everywhere on every continent, from the Arctic, from the Antarctic to in every ecosystem, from ice sheets and glaciers to the hottest deserts in the Middle East. Microorganisms are everywhere. So we use the term ubiquitous, meaning everywhere all the time. So there are microorganisms all over the place, wherever you are right now, as you're listening to this announcement. I thought this was really interesting. Oh, microorganisms can even survive in the vacuum of outer space. So that is amazing in and of itself. But what I found really amazing is that there are trillions, and the number is 39 plus trillion microorganisms living on or in your body right now. Some experts believe that the number of microorganisms or the number of, for instance, bacterial cells outnumber your body cells by about 10 to 1. That is pretty incredible. So you are sort of the objectives of the week is to appreciate the ubiquity of microorganisms. You're also going to, some of you have already been into all of this stuff, personal safety and hand washing procedures, very important in microbiology, but very important in healthcare as well. Um, Collecting microorganisms in your local environment. You'll do a number of simulations that help you kind of understand that. And you learn a little bit about the microscope. And you do a differential white blood cell count, which I think is kind of weird at this point in time in, in microbiology. Nevertheless, you should understand that there are microorganisms that are even larger than your blood cells. Okay, I call this next list of items housekeeping items for the week. If you haven't already, order your microbiology equipment kit. These kits come from Carolina Biological Supply here on the East Coast. By the way, I'm in Virginia, here on the East Coast. And with the situation in the Middle East and the gas situation, you want to make sure if you haven't already, you order your microbiology equipment kit soon. We start using them on the first day of the third week, so you still have some time. Go to class resources on the left side of the Halo course page, and you'll see a link in there tells you how to order your microbiology kit. Doesn't cost you anything, and they'll send it straight to your home. And so you want to make sure you do that so that you can get started on those experiments because um, incubating, culturing bacteria takes a little bit of time. It takes several days. So you want to make sure you have your stuff on time so you can get started on time so that you can finish on time. Your first discussion board post, it is due, well, your initial introduction was due last night. If you haven't if you haven't gotten it in, just get it in. It's not worth any credit. It's just is the university's way of knowing that you are. It's like an attendance grade. But besides that, when you introduce yourself to me, I did my little introduction there. Tell me something about you, where you live, what do you do? Do you work full time? Are you in the nursing program or some other program? I like to know those things. And even though this is a short class, at least for the 7 weeks that we are together, at least I can, when I see your name, I can at least have some idea of who you are. Do you live on the West Coast? Do you live on the East Coast? Do you live in Arizona? Different little things. I like to know about. I like to know with whom I'm dealing. It's the best way that I can get to know you without being face to face in the classroom. Okay, so if you haven't done your introduction, make sure you get that done. All of your due times are 11:59 p.m. and I always put in parentheses GCU time, Grand Canyon University time, because no matter where you are in the country or where you are in the world, your submission due time is always based on Grand Canyon University or Arizona time. So that's 11:59 p.m. Now, I am on the East Coast and we just went to daylight savings time over the weekend. So we are 3 hours ahead of you if you live on the West Coast or if you live in Arizona. Just be aware of that because if you're submitting your assignments on Sunday evening, I'm not going to be able to enter your grades into the grade book until Monday, hopefully by Monday evening, because I'm 3 hours ahead. So 11:59 p.m. your time, if you're on the West or in Arizona, is 2:59 a.m. my time in the East, and I'm not usually up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Um, Switching grades over. There's no integration between Halo and McGraw-Hill Connect. That's why I have to transfer grades manually. So just be aware of that. I appreciate your patience. Come Monday, if you look in your grade book and you see a big red overdue banner, don't worry about it. You don't have to message me and say, Jeffries, I know I did this assignment. How do I need to prove? You don't need to do anything. I just need to transfer grades over. When I do that, your gradebook will automatically update. Okay, your first formal discussion post, though, is due no later than tomorrow evening, Friday, 11:59 p.m., and that's the topic 1 discussion post. The rules of engagement for discussion, if you go to class resources, you'll see Jeffrey's guidelines for discussion posts. Okay, that's all fine and good, but those rules of engagement do not apply to this first week because this first week is you introduce yourself, tell us how much you know about microbiology. If if a patient comes, if you're a nurse and a patient comes to you and says something about microorganisms, bacteria, what are you going to tell them? So it's just sort of kind of introductory stuff. Come next week, though, we'll get into our discussion prompts will be more substantive. And so your responses to the prompts and your responses to your peers will have to be substantive. You want to go to Jeffrey's guidelines for discussion posts check it out, read it over, and follow the rules, okay? You have to do two, you have to do your initial post, you get graded on that separately, and then you have to respond to two peers over the course of 3 different days during the week for a total of 6 posts, peer responses, no later than Sunday. And I know if you're taking lecture, I guess most of you are, you have to do the same thing. It's 6 responses, that's 12. And then if you're taking other courses on top of micro, then I don't know what you have to do there for chemistry or anatomy, but you still have discussion posts to do there as well. It's a lot of work. I know. So you just got to stay on top of things and don't wait until the last minute to do, don't wait until Sunday evening to do 6 posts. I cannot give you credit, even though you made the requirement of 6 posts. I cannot give you credit for that. It's 2 posts over 3 different days for 6. Okay. Oh, I'll talk more about that as we get into it, but don't worry about those rules of engagement for this week anyway. If you haven't already, connect to Connect. That's the McGraw-Hill platform where you will be doing all of your simulations plus your quizzes and not quizzes for you, but your midterm and final exam will all go through Connect. To do that, I'm guessing I only heard from one person this week about that, so I'm guessing that you found your way. But if you haven't yet, again, class resources, open that up. The very first item is Nestor's Microbiology. That's your textbook. There's a little blue link there. Click on the link that takes you to Connect. Pop in your credentials and you're in there. Go to T1, opens up a drop down menu. You can see all of the assignments for this week. We are using Nestor's Microbiology Human Perspective 10th edition. Make sure I'll post it. I don't think I have here, but I usually post for every class how to properly format the reference for our textbook. There's like 3 or 4 different ways as you go through your course pages, like 3 different ways to format the reference for the textbook. There is only one proper way, and I will post that for you so that you can follow that and not get dinged by me later on. We are on topic 1, the microbial world, and Connect. There are pre-lab questions for labs 1 and 2. Make sure you do those. Do no later than Sunday. That's the 15th, 11:59 p.m. GCU time, and also do your lab activities. If you haven't started them, get started on them because there are 7 simulations to do before Sunday, all through Connect. So make sure you get all of those done. Next week there's 5, so it's they're not that many going going forward, but 7 this week, 5 next week. It's a lot of simulations and they might take a little bit of time. So make sure you get those done on time so you can get full credit for them. Okay. And my last note here, pay particular attention to due dates on all of your assignments. Proper credit can only be given for complete and timely submissions. You can contact me with questions or concerns anytime. You can message me directly, 804-229-7993, and use your Halo message box or inbox, whichever term you like. Those are the 2 quickest ways to get a hold of me. Certainly you can use campus email, GCU email, and I will get to you. I check my email several times a day, multiple times over the weekend. But if you need something, my office hours, our virtual office hours here are 9:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Eastern, and usually if you message me or Halo message or message me directly, if I'm in the office, I will usually get to you right away or within 10 minutes or 30 minutes. If you email me on the weekend, it might be a couple of hours. So if you need something right away, hit me up with 804-229-7983 or a Halo message. during office hours. My office hours are, as I said, 9:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. That's Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Wednesday and Friday are my flex days. I'm in and out of the office and out running errands and doing other things. So um, just be aware of that. And again, I'm 3 hours ahead of you guys. I did post a link to a video by Professor Dave. Professor Dave, I love. I think you will as well. It's sort of a light-hearted way to introduce you to some science topics. This week I posted the link to Introduction to the Microbial World. And that kind of gives you a full flavor of where we will be going throughout the next number of weeks. Okay, so that's that. Welcome again to Microbiology Lab. Remember, this is lab, not lecture. That's a whole different thing. And I hope you have a good rest of the week. Make sure you get that topic one discussion post done. If you haven't done your introduction, make sure you get that done. Make sure you get those 7 simulations done by Thursday, 11:59 p.m. GCU time. I will be talking to you again very soon. Have a good rest of the week.